Hey there, and welcome to Crochet Therapy. I'm Barbara, your host, for today's tutorial using fabric in crochet. And I'm so excited about this tutorial. I went out and bought 3 yards of fabric, and I can't wait to show you what we can do with this. If you're new to my channel, I just want to introduce myself. I'm Barbara, and I live in Florida with my husband, my 2 dogs, my 3 cats, and just recently, my mom and dad. And so I want to welcome you to the channel. This is the place for all yarny goodness. We have crochet alongs, tutorials, we do chit chats, we do live chats every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday morning. On Wednesday mornings, we do our Whip Wednesday, where we actually sit and crochet together. So we are a yarny community. We're very uplifting. We use crochet as our therapy. I am in no way, shape, or form a therapist, but I do use crochet as my form of therapy. It keeps me calm and happy, and I love yarn, and I love sharing yarn, and I love hearing about your projects, and I love hearing about your life and your yarny goodness life. So join me, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the bell so that you won't miss a thing. Let's get started. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is take a look at our fabric. Now, I happened to buy 3 yards of fabric, and this is just the prettiest little fabric. It actually has little tiny white hearts on it. It's a red fabric, so it can be used for obviously Valentine's Day, but it can be used any time of year because hearts, they just go with just about anything. So what I'm going to do is find the edge of the fabric, and I am going to cut strips of the fabric. So the first thing I want to do is get rid of this edge right here. Because this edge I do not want to show up in our crochet at all. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that. So guess what? Look what I found. Look what I found. And I started to use my scissors. These are little scissors. They are Fiskars, and they are very sharp. So I don't have any problem cutting this. However, it wouldn't let me tear it. So maybe if I was trying to tear in the other direction, maybe it would work. But this one did not let me tear it. So I started cutting with these little scissors that are very sharp. These are the sharpest scissors that I have. And it was working very well, but it's not very large. I don't know if you can see, but see how tiny they are? Yeah, they're not very large. So I put my thinking cap on, and I thought, if I were a rotary cutter, where would I be? And so, ta-da, I found it. And yeah, it wasn't where you would think it was. It was actually with my, oh, I don't want to get the oil on my fingers. And this is very sharp, so be careful. That was my wide skip rotary blade that I used when crocheting an edge to something. So what I'm going to do, I know I stored my straight blade in here, and here it is right here. So I'm going to get my straight blade out. Oh, these are really sharp. Oh, and they're kind of stuck together. Let me see, it must be the oil. Let's see, here we go. I can do it this way. There we go. Okay. So let me put this on here. Oh yeah, there's a little bit of oil there. Let me put this on here. And let's see which way. Right here. There we go. And then turn it over and screw this down. Okay. Okay, so now I have my rotary blade all ready. Okay, And I also went and got my rotary mat, the cutting mat, to the side. So as you can see, I was cutting this, and you know, it's all well and good, but it was really rather slow, and I didn't really feel like cutting 3 yards of this edge with these little tiny scissors, because I thought, oh, you know, it's going to take a little bit. However, using the rotary blade and a guide, which I have right here. This is my Fisker's guide. So this can hold down the fabric, and then I can just use my rotary blade. And this is a cutting mat, so I can cut this very quickly. Now, if you don't have a rotary cutter, you can certainly use regular scissors. You do not have to purchase anything special or anything out of your budget in order to complete this task. Not at all. I bought my rotary cutter quite a few years ago, and then all you have to do is purchase new blades or have them sharpened, you know, either one, you know, as you go along. This Fisker's rotary cutter, I believe, is probably about, I'm going to say, in maybe the $10–15 range for this, and usually it comes with a blade or two, and you can get these in any department store that has a craft section. Walmart, you can get them. You can also get them online through Amazon, or you know, any of the craft stores, Joanne, you know, any of them. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and finish this one side, and then I'm going to spread this out and get my rotary cutter out. Okay, and I'll meet you back when I get set up to do the rotary cutter. Okay, so this is the edge where I stopped cutting, and obviously I need to go further up the edge and cut all of the white off. So I have this folded. I am going to lay this down, and I am going to cut an edge to cut this white part off. And I'm just going to hold it with my hand, and hopefully, well, let's see, because we've got some from the bottom as well, I don't really want to cut that off. Okay. Well, there we go. Okay, and so this is the way and as you can see, you know, it just cuts the fabric. I'm going to give this a little, here we go. And then I'm going to pull the fabric forward, and hopefully it will fan out. Here we go. And pull the next fan out and pull this back a little bit. It's really hard to get all of this into the picture, so I do apologize for that. But I'm trying to make sure that you get at least part of it so that you can see how this can work. Because this is definitely much quicker than using your scissors. And it's much quicker, I promise, when you're not trying to show people, you know, and trying to get things in the camera. And And I am getting a little bit of this bottom part, but that's okay. And so here we go. We're going to pull some more down, and we are going to cut some more. And this is actually how I'm going to cut my strips. Now, you have the decision to make of how wide you want your strips to be. When I used the jelly roll that was already cut for me, it was cut at a 2.5 inch width. And so I did like that a lot. I was okay with the 2.5 inch width. However, it made the fabric a little bit thick, a little bit hard to crochet with. It wasn't impossible, but it was a little bit harder to crochet with. And so also, I didn't get much yardage out of it in terms of, you know, what we think of when we talk about yarn. So, because I didn't get much yardage out of it, I thought when I purchased this fabric that I would go with a 1.5 inch strip, because I think 1 inch is a little too small for me. I want to have the fabric be as thick and sturdy as possible without wasting the yardage. So let's see. There we go. And I just have a little bit left to do here. And then I'm going to do the same thing with all of the strips. And so this is how we can quickly cut our strips. Now, there we go. Okay. So I have 3 yards. Let's see how wide this is, because it's supposed to be about 22 inches wide. So let's see, because the whole thing doubled is supposed to be about 44. So it is 22 inches wide. So that's awesome. So I have 44 inches to play with. I really think that I'm going to go with 1.5 inches per strip. And so that 1.5 inches is the thickness of my yarn. And then let's see, with 1.5 inches of thickness with my fabric yarn, I think I should get, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and then another inch, 15, because that's doubled. So 15, so 30, because this side is folded. So I will get about 30 strips out of this, times 3 yards of length. So, you know, that's not bad. 30 strips times 3 yards, you know, approximately 90 yards of length of fabric to use to create my project with. So obviously, if you want to make something larger, like a really big basket, or, you know, whatever it is that you're making, the larger you make it, the more fabric you'll have to purchase. So let's get started, and I'll come back when I have the strips cut and I'll show you how to connect them. Okay, look at all of this. Look at all of these strips of fabric. Now I have a nice pile of fabric strips. What do I do from here? Well, what you're going to want to do is connect them. You're going to want to connect end to end until you have one long string of fabric. Okay? And so what we're going to do is kind of unravel these. We're going to, and this, I cut these the length of the amount of fabric that I purchased, which was 3 yards long. So these are 3 yards long. Now, I have both ends and I left it folded. So that way I could cut 2 strips of fabric at the same time. So I'm going to kind of do a little cheat, and I'm going to cut the ends of all 4 ends. Okay, so I'm going to put the ends together. Put the ends together like this, and it doesn't matter whether it's inside or outside at this point. Okay, I'm going to fold it in half, and you can see when this one is folded in half, it's not quite as wide as the fabric that I purchased already cut, because these are about 1.5 inches wide, and the one that I purchased was 2.5 inches wide. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this over like that. Okay? And I'll try to hold it up there so that you can see it. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is cut right here, and I'll give you a little peek into what I'm going to do. Is I'm going to cut right here, but I'm going to make sure that I don't go down to the end. I don't want that end cut off. I actually want to have a hole in that fabric. So I'm going to bring this back towards me so that I can cut it properly. And I'll try to keep it in the frame, and it's kind of thick. So let's see if I can cut it. And I can, because my scissors are nice and sharp, and I'm not going to cut it too far because I don't want to make the holes too big. Okay, so here is a hole and here is a hole. Okay, so we have 2 holes in each strip of fabric. We have 4 ends right here. Now, they happen to be connected in the middle, which is fine. So what I'm going to do is make holes in all of the ends of the fabric, but I'm going to show you, I'm going to move this to the side a little bit, just a little bit, and I'm going to show you how we're going to connect these ends. Okay? So these 2 ends are separate strips of fabric, and I'm going to verify that because there we go. Now I found the other end. Okay, so if I connect these 2 strips, they're 2 separate strips of fabric. What I'm going to do is take one and I'm going to fold it in half, and here's the hole right here. Okay, and then I'm going to fold this one in half, and when I fold them in half, when I'm getting ready to connect them, I always put the right side out. Okay, so I've got this one and this one. They both have holes in the ends, which is really important. I'm going to take this end and I'm going to insert it into this hole. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so we have this end, which is connected to a separate end of fabric. Now I'm going to find the other end of this fabric. This fabric is the one that's looping through the hole. I'm going to find the end of this fabric that is looping through the hole. And let me do that. So I have to I have to go through 3 yards of fabric to get to the end, but no worries because we will find it. Oh, here it is. It's looping around. And as I'm doing that, the other one is getting knocked to the floor, but that's no problem. No problem at all. So this and this, these two are the same strip of fabric, okay? And this one right here is the fabric that I have looped through, okay? So this fabric end and this fabric end actually are the same strip of fabric. Okay, so I'm going to fold this one over and I'm going to put the same fabric, this fabric through this fabric loop hole. Okay, so these two ends belong to the same strip of fabric. Now what I'm going to do is do my best to keep the outside of the fabric outside. And I'm just going to pull this one down and pull this one through, pull this through, pull this through until it starts looping. And you'll see. See how it's coming together? So I can let go of this end because this end belongs to the other end of the loop. Okay, this is what we looped it through initially. Okay, and I am going to do my best to keep these fabrics, there we go, right side out. Okay, so now this is the initial fabric that we looped basically this strip through, and then we took this strip and looped it through its own end. Okay, so if you just give it a little pull and give it a little help too, you don't want to stress your fabric out too much, but just give it a little help. Then you will see, give that a nice little tug, you'll see the nice little knot that you come up with. Do you see that? It's pretty good. It's actually really, really good. And that is the technique to connect all of these strips of fabric together to make one long strand of fabric yarn. Okay? And so this one already has an end to it, and so does the other one, which is good because then, as you can see, so now we have 6 yards of fabric all connected, ready to go. Okay, now obviously, you know, 6 yards in crochet does not go that far, which is why I have all of these, and I still have some extra fabric if I need some more to cut some more strips. So I'm not worried. Plus, I know where I can go get some more. The other thing is, you know, you can combine this with other fabric as well. So this is, you know, red with white hearts, but let's say I had blue with white dots, anything like that. You know, you can turn this into whatever you like. Now, when you crochet with it, if the pattern is small, like these little dots, or hearts rather, if the pattern is small, then the pattern will peek out. If, however, you use a fabric that has wild, large flowers on it, and it's just a gorgeous fabric, when you cut the strips, you're going to see that beauty of the color of the flowers. You're going to see the beauty of the way the colors, you know, go together as they're creating this larger picture, but you're just going to get the strips of the picture. So that is going to make a very interesting piece of crochet work, because you're not going to see the small picture. You're just going to see all of the colors just flowing together. And as long as you're in the same family of colors, it will melt and meld and just flow. Now, if you're wild and crazy like I can be sometimes with color, you can just change up that color and throw in a splash of this and a splash of that, and you will be surprised how beautiful it will still turn out. So I am going to do one more with you just to give you another peek into creating this yarn. So what I'm going to do, these two are connected together. I'm going to connect these two brand new ones together, and then I'm going to take one end and connect it to this end. And that way I will have not just 2 3-yard strips of fabric connected, but I will have 4, and that will be really awesome. And so that way I won't feel like I'm just connecting, you know, one strip at a time. I can feel like I am really, you know, using a nice system to get my work done. So I'm going to fold this in half like this. And let me bring it down a little bit so that you can see. And then I'm going to fold it in half like this. And then I'm going to cut down the center. And let's see, where did my scissors go? Here we go, right over here. And I'm going to cut down the center. And I realize that you can't see very well, but I need to be able to see in order to not go too far with that cut. So here we go. There's the hole right here. See, I can stick my little finger through it. And so now I'm going to find the other end, which is right here, of these 2 pieces of fabric. And again, I'm going to put them together, fold them in half lengthwise, like this. And then I'm going to fold it down. And there's no need to measure. You'll get the groove going, and you will get your system down, and everything will be fine. Okay. So as you can see, I've got my hole here. There we go. There's my little finger through it. So, okay, so these are 2 separate strips. They were together, but they're 2 separate strips. And I know this because of the way I cut it. So I am going to fold this one in half. And I am going to fold this one in half with the right sides out. I'm going to put this one through this one. And so this one will be the one that I am folding my strip through, the one that I'm connecting this strip to this end. So now what I want to do is find the end of my 3 yards of fabric right here. And I want to give it a fold. Now remember, we've already cut that, which is important because we're going to need that. So you can connect this through either end, either this end or this end, but I like to connect it through the short end, and that way I'm not having to pull all of the fabric through here and then all the way through here. It just shortens my fabric journey. So I'm connecting the 2 ends. These 2 ends are the same strip of fabric. So I'm connecting those together, and I'm going to do my best to keep the fabric folded as I fold it through. Now, you know, here's the thing too. Once we get it all through, it's going to come undone again anyway. And oh wait, What did I do? Here we go. I think I lost it. Oh, I did. See? I'm doing the wrong one. Here we go. This is the fabric that we are looping through. I was doing the right one. It's easy to get confused. However, it's also easy to fix whatever mistake you might make. So let's keep this up, keep this up, keep this up. And then when it starts getting really close, just help it along a little bit, help it along. And then if you give this end a little tug this way, then they tend to marry, and then you don't have any strings hanging out or big pieces hanging out. Now, I didn't learn that until just recently. So there you go. Another one connected. So we have these 3 yards of 1.5 inch strips of fabric connected. And so I'm going to find the end of this one, and I am going to fold this over, and I'm going to find the end of this one, which was the first one that we did, and I am going to connect these 2. So now, when I get through with this, I will have 12 yards of fabric connected. There we go. All right. Now, if you want to connect these as you go, as you work on your project, you can do that, or you can connect them all and wind them in a ball. It's up to you. Totally up to you. So I have this hole, I have this hole. These are both the same, they're connected to each other. They're the same strip going through a second strip. So I'm going to go through here, and I'm going to encourage it to go through. Keep it as straight as possible. Encourage it to fold the proper way. If it doesn't, we can straighten it out because it's a long strip of fabric. So it's not going to be a big deal. Just make sure that when you get your connection together, that section is folded properly, because that's where it's going to matter there. So here we go. I'm going to make sure that my fabric is folded properly. Look at that. How pretty. How pretty is that? So I'm going to help it along a little bit. Give it a little tug. Help it along. There we go. Just going to help it along. And let's see. Remember what I said about giving this a tug? See how this wanted to go up like this? And then you would have this bunch of fabric right here that wanted to, you know, bunch up on itself. So if you hold this and then give it a tug, then there you go. You've got a nice connection. So I have 12 yards of fabric strips connected. I am super excited. I'm going to keep connecting. And then once we get this all connected, let's make something with it. And that will be on the next episode. Okay, I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial on how to cut the fabric, how to connect the fabric, and I'm so excited about what we're going to do with this fabric. So stay tuned, because the next episode is coming right up.